Let me move in and have a discussion with some folks who are taking the opportunity to come in here this morning and talk to us about an election. And the thing that I wanted to do with them is because folks tend to forget the other part of the ballot. I don't want them to forget get the ballot in front of you, know exactly who you would like to vote for and why. And so this morning, we're going to extend ourselves past the 9:30 time because that other issue got in the way. But I don't want another moment to go by without us talking with the candidates for Orphans Court judge here in the city of Baltimore. And Mr. Attorney Judge Loewenthal, talk to us about who you have with you and what the issue is and how we can get better informed about the Orphans Court.
Thank you very much, Senator. My name, of course, is Lewin Scott Garrett. I'm the Chief Judge of the Orphans Court of Baltimore City. With me, my two colleagues, Judge Loewenthal and Judge Fogleman. We sit...
Fogleman, I know I have to meet this young lady.
Hi, how are you? Michelle Loewenthal.
Hello.
They are both excellent people, and I'm very happy to serve with them on the Orphans Court of Baltimore City. The Orphans Court, just to give you some background of me first, I have been the Orphans Court judge for 19 years. I just became chief judge a couple of months ago. I've been practicing law for 36 years. The Orphans Court, and to give you a background of the Orphans Court, it deals with property. Anytime someone dies within the city of Baltimore and they have property of any nature, it usually comes to our court for us to distribute the property to the heirs. That's basically what the Orphans Court does. All of us, and one thing we are very proud of is that we tried, because of course when someone dies, that's a traumatic time, and no matter how much you are prepared for it. So when people come to court, they come to court for justice. And I remember when I first began to practice, I was an attorney in Juanita Jackson Mitchell's office. And one thing she always would talk about is justice is three components of justice. And one, you have to know the law. You have to know how to, the various areas of the law. Two, you have to understand the human factor. And that's using compassion and understanding. And the three, you have to do it promptly. Because the whole saying, justice delayed is justice denied. But all three of those are one thing we are very proud of, and I think we bring to the citizens of Baltimore City. One thing, we don't have a backlog down the Orphans Court. And so when someone does come in...
Well, that was a criticism of the court.
Oh, it was a big criticism.
For quite some time.
And yes, in the last almost 15 years now, we haven't had a backlog.
And that was with the leadership of your predecessor.
Yes, and it was Judge Golden and then Judge Baylor Thompson, who is now a district court judge. And then, of course, we worked as a team, and we still working as a team. The Orphans Court family has expanded. And we are, again, very happy to be with Judge Loewenthal and Judge Fogleman. Now, I want to make sure people understand, even though we are the Orphans Court, that's a misnomer. We are basically the probate court, and we do deal with property, and our jurisdiction usually comes in after the date of death of someone. There are 7 circuit court judges who are running, and that's completely different from the Orphans Court, and I ask everybody to vote for them too. They are wonderful people. But we are the Orphans Court, and that's what our jurisdiction deals with, the property of people. And as I mentioned, one thing we are very proud of is that we don't have a backlog. Judge Loewenthal is going to talk about another thing we have been doing is going out into the community. I would let Judge Loewenthal take over and give some background too.
Judge Michelle Loewenthal. I've been on the Orphans Court for 3 years, and I come with 30 years of experience as an attorney. I did family law, guardianship, and personal injury law, and I still practice in a private practice. One of the things that we take pride in is that we go out into the communities and we give free wills and estate seminars. In fact, we just went yesterday to a group of seniors in the city, and we explained to them the importance of having a will financial powers of attorney and advance directives for medical purposes. They're very, very appreciative, and we feel that we are helping them so that when the time comes, and the time comes for everyone at some point, that they will be more prepared and they will be helping their families be more prepared. Also, we just take a lot of pride in that we care about the people that come in front of us. I specifically try to help people resolve their own disputes. Sometimes I send them in the hallway and I said, please try to talk to each other, see what you can do. We also refer people to mediation.
Actually, on Judge Baylor Thompson, who was the prior Orphans Chief Judge, we were the first Orphans Court in the state of Maryland to begin a mediation program. But I would let Judge Fogleman talk about a couple of issues.
Senator, thank you so much for having us here. Steve Fogleman, we're no strangers. I just want to say I appreciate everything you've done for the city of Baltimore. Out of having heard thousands of cases before the liquor board for the last 7 years, I can honestly say you were the only radio talk show man who ever came to one of our hearings, and that's demonstrative of your commitment to good government.
And
here
you
in
were
Baltimore.
Always fair.
Thank you very much. We take compliments too. Thank you. We actually have a will drafting seminar coming up this Saturday. If you go to our website, orphanscourtjudges2014.com, there's a calendar. We'll have several more coming up over the next few months. It is an honor to work with these great jurists. I'm the new judge, and I have been learning so much from Lou and Garrett, the chief judge, and our associate judge, Michelle Loewenthal. What you have to understand about the Orphans Court, it's unlike any other court in the sense that if you come before the court, it means that you've recently lost a loved one. So right there, you need to make sure that in addition to applying the law, that you do have some compassion, that you do put yourself in the litigant's shoes as well. And having dealt with some complex and complicated issues at the liquor board, I believe that puts me in a good spot. And I continue, though, every day to learn from Judge Garrett and Judge Loewenthal.
Now, one of the things that I have to say, and I guess, not guess, I know, so that there'll be no hidden discussion here, that Judge Garrett, Attorney Garrett, is one of my 3 attorneys. So I would be put that up front, and has been for just about all of your career, right?
All of my career.
So that's I want to be upfront with that. So that's just how it is. Now, the Orphans Court judgeship, there is a misconception. It's as if you're dealing with orphans. Why don't you get the name changed?
Well,
has that ever been considered?
Yes, it has been, but because of the historical, significance of the name, the Orphans Court, there's been a lot of hesitation to change the name. I understand that because we basically are the probate court, and people will understand because many times they call the court our court, and they think it's the juvenile court, and we keep telling them no, it's not the juvenile court, it's the Orphans Court. But again, because of the historical background and the heritage of the Orphans Court, there's been a lot of hesitation in the legal community from changing the name. Will it be changed? Probably one day, but not anytime soon.
No, it's the interesting about the name Orphans Court is uniquely a Chesapeake name. Only in Virginia, Delaware, Pennsylvania, and Maryland was the term Orphans Court used from and borrowed from the city of London. All over the rest of the country, 46, 47 states, it's the probate court. So everybody has an idea of what they're going to.
Well, also, I just explained to people that when you lose a parent, then you feel like you're an orphan, and they can understand that and appreciate it.
And to make matters more confusing, we do indeed deal with guardianships of minors who have lost their parents and their property. So that is the one limited place where we do technically deal with orphans.
When we come back, I want to talk about the course that you're going to do Saturday, I just heard about. And how does one get and reach out to tell you, in our community, we want to hear from you. And how does that, like a Speakers Bureau concept, where they just call and work out a time to get you in front of them? And we'll talk about when the election is with this very fine group. on the other side of this information break, which we're going to take right now. We have a high of 83, low of 56. Storms, they say, are expected. It's about 55 degrees here on 1010 WOLB. So keep in mind, that is important to vote. Now, see, that's fair.
That's compassionate, too. Good stuff.
We're talking with the Orphans Court judges, and we're happy to have on board with us, name purposes.
My name is Lewin Scott Garrett.
Michelle Loewenthal.
And Stephen Fogleman.
Each time you talk, make sure you give us your name. All right, thank
Okay.
you much. All right, which way we're going to go?
Well, one thing I would like to mention,
Sure.
I will talk about, a couple of things we are very proud of at the Orphans Court. And Judge Loewenthal and Judge Fogleman, they are going to talk about the seminars that we mentioned that we give. But we also have made a booklet. And actually, this is hot off the press. It's an updated one. And because a lot of times people come into our court and they don't, because they have, and that's one reason behind the seminars, but because they aren't familiar with the process, they tell us so many times that their parents, their mom wanted this done or their father wanted this done, but because they haven't prepared, we have to operate within the parameter of what the law tells us. We have discretion now, but we have to operate within those parameters. So anyhow, we constructed a book that we usually hand out, and we're going to leave a copy for you and the Radio One family.
You see, I'm smart. I got a good lawyer.
Yes, you do.
Anyhow,
Thank you.
the other thing I want to mention in this book, one of the things I wanted to talk about also is the Register of Wills, because the Register of Wills,
Yeah, we got a call about that.
Yeah.
You can help them share some information on that.
they act as a clerk for the Orphans Court. Now, they are an independent agency, but they act as our clerk, and we work hand in hand with them to provide, service. And right now, the Register of Wills and on the Radio One family, you probably remember Milton Allen. His son, David Allen, is the present Register of Wills. And we work with the Register of Wills and to make sure we serve the citizens of Baltimore City.
Hi, Michelle Loewenthal. So one of the ways that we work with them is when we have people in front of us in court and they're coming in because they don't know how to fill out certain forms. So we've called them back to our court and said, you were supposed to file an inventory or an accounting, and they tell us that they don't know what to do. So what we do is we hand them a piece of paper with the room number of the specific clerk who can help them. And then I tell them, you go there right now and you tell them this is what you need to do, and they will help you fill out this form. And so we pride ourselves that we work hand in hand. Even though we are separate entities, we work together, and that's how our court is efficient. Now, I had mentioned before about the seminars that we give, and so the phone number to call to schedule a seminar is 410-396-5034. Again, the number is 410-396-5034. And if you call that number and explain that you'd like to set up a Wills and Estates seminar, someone there will help you with the rescheduling. We generally do that for groups, and we'd be glad to come.
Is it a charge?
There's no charge. No charge.
All right.
And Larry, Steve Fogleman, just to back up real quick on the Register of Wills and then talk more about these seminars. There are two types of probate. There's administrative probate, judicial probate. Judicial probate is what we do. And in the vast majority of cases, if everything is perfect, your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted, the will is perfect, the heirs are all on board, understand what's going on, they won't see an Orphans Court judge, most likely. That will be probated through the Register of Wills. If there's anything unusual, any wrinkle, any question about the will's validity, that's when it comes to the Orphans Court, and that's when the judges will be asked to settle those tough matters. So as far as these seminars go, I'm new to the court, but that's been the most rewarding part of it, is meeting people out and about, and people are very, very interested in this subject. And the folks who do come before us for these seminars, they're people who, they don't like to wait around too long. They're planners, and they've got a couple dollars to leave to their children and grandchildren. They've worked hard, and they want to make sure that that money goes to them. It doesn't go to the state. It doesn't go to taxes. They want to find out how they can maximize the gifts to their loved ones. We're working on Memorial Day weekend, like you. We're working on Saturday, May 24th, from 11 to 12 noon at Refuge Way of the Cross Church in Christ at 4301 Old York Road. This is open to the public. We're going to talk about wills. We're going to talk about powers of attorney and the advanced healthcare directives, formerly living wills. And people love to talk about wills, but sometimes these powers of attorney and healthcare directives are equally important in making sure that your wishes are carried out and that your affairs are managed when you're unable to, but you're still alive.
And one thing we always try to cover at the seminars, because obviously the will is extremely important, and that's one of the basic reasons we are giving the seminar. But we try to tell people other mechanisms that they can pass their property, and make sure they know of other mechanisms, like you can have a life estate and deed with full powers, which means that you can do anything with your house. And the biggest asset that most people have is the house. So you can deed your house back to yourself, but when you die, you have a remainder man, and you can leave it to whosoever you want, your children, entity, a church, a charitable organization. But that's another mechanism. So we try to give people options, and to I'm going to say a slogan, and I guess you, especially here, everyone knows, and that is information is power. And information is very important. The more information, it can save you a lot of aggravation, can save you a lot of money, because what it counts. It was everyone probably I always tell an old joke about the guy who car breaks down in the middle of the countryside. He sees a farmer on a tractor. He runs over there, asks the farmer to help him. The farmer mosey on over, and after he finally gets there, the guy is all impatient, and the farmer looks and says, hold your pants on, son. So anyhow, he fills his car. Finally, he pulls out a hammer and hits the car, and the car starts right up. And the guy said, "Oh, thank you very much. Oh, I have to pay you something." And the guy, he said, "How much do I owe you?" And the guy said, and the farmer looks at him, pauses a little while, and said, $1,000. And the guy said, $1,000 for hitting a car with a hammer? He said, "No, it's $5 for hitting the car with a hammer, $995 for knowing where to hit it." So anyhow, and that's because the information is very important. So we try to get out as a part of our community service to try to let people know and give them the information.
One of the things I remember when we had this discussion 4 years ago, maybe 4 years before that, you've always been in here to talk to us just before the election, and whenever we've asked you to come in. Am I wrong that you probably have less than 15% of the public knowledgeable that you have to have a will, or what the will absolutely means? Because I got to tell you, the majority of the folks that I know do not have a will.
Supreme Court justices have died without wills. It's something that lawyers are sometimes so busy managing everybody else's affairs that they don't forget to manage their own. Yeah,
a couple of circuit court judges, unfortunately, that did pass on. They didn't have a will.
And you insisted I had to have a living will.
Yes.
When I got down, I almost left here.
Well, so hopefully you want to make sure you keep you around for a long time.
And the reason, let me just tell you, I said, when I had the situation, family, and y'all was so responsive to me, I was given that I was going to die within hours, and maybe a day. And then on Friday I stayed, and Saturday, Sunday. Finally I come out of my coma, I wake up. But during that time, my family members had already decided where my car was going to go, where my mother was going to go, who's going to keep my apartment, all that other kind of stuff. And of course, when I woke up, the person who initiated all that immediately left my apartment, and took 6 months for us to get together. And then Lewin said, Judge Garrett said to me, "You got to have a living will." So we put that in place, because I didn't have one. I had the will, but I didn't have the other part. And so, family, believe you me, these guys are so important. And that's why I like the idea that you're not afraid to come out into the community and say, here we are, we've got the information, now y'all use it. And that's exactly why I wanted y'all to come in today.
Also, just remember that the will is effective after you pass,
Right.
whereas the power of attorney and the advance directive
There you
is
go.
while you are alive
That's
Yes.
right.
and unable to make decisions for yourself.
And there's a requirements for each one of them. And a lot of times people, they think they have a will because they wrote it down on a piece of paper. I want mom, I want my uncle to have this, I want my child to have certain things, but they didn't comply with the requirements in Maryland. So one of the things we do, we make sure people know the requirements, because again, if you want things to be done the way you want them to be done, then you have to do them the right way.
Put it in writing.
And yes, so it's very, very important, and that's one of the reasons we give the seminar. And there's so many areas of the law. I mean, besides probate law, when you are planning a person in the state, you have family law, contract law, bankruptcy law, you can name it. It all comes in. So each one of us are very versed in these areas, and we try to put all that knowledge together when we make a decision.
So if Miss Sadie comes in and she says, look, my husband's passed and this and that, and the ex-wife before me, she wants a piece of the action, and I want to make sure that what he said to me is so. Which one? No standing exists if you don't have any paperwork. So y'all don't even get involved in that.
Well, we have to explain to people, obviously, when they do come in, and if a person who is not related to the person who has died, and they don't have any, and there's now a will or anything of that nature, unfortunately, so many times, we have to tell people, you don't have standing, you can't, and that property goes to someone who may not. The decedent, the person who died, may not wanted the property to go to. So
And Steve Fogleman here, and that's all the more reason if you are living with a family and you're not married to the woman that you're living with there, all the more reason why you would want to leave a life insurance policy to her, something that passes outside of the estate, or leave an IRA to their children, because there are people who come into court and they say, this man was like a father to me. He lived with me for 25 years. He raised me. He taught me how to ride a bike. He taught me how to drive a car. And then they find out that, because there's no blood relation, that they won't share in the property of the estate unless he has a will which specifically directs that. And so that's one way you can avoid a will in that situation, is to make sure that you leave your assets named beneficiaries on bank accounts, through joint accounts, as I say, IRA policies, payable upon death, all of those things.
it's very important.
Information is power.
Information
And
is
y'all have done just that. I've got to pull out of here. But I want to thank you for not thinking of Robert to come up and join us, and I wish y'all the very best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
And,
Thank you.
And when they go to the polls, they need to look for what names on the polling spot?
Fogleman, Garrett, and Loewenthal, 2, 3, and 4. Fair, grounded leadership.
That's our slogan.
That's right.
That's what it is. You're not changing it.
Knowledge is power was already taken, so thank you so much.
Kathy grabbed that one a few decades back. Thank you so very much for coming in. And family, what you saying to me? No? I gotta talk after they leave for 5 minutes. Okay. Coach and I can do that. Thank y'all so very
Thank
much
you.
for coming this
Thanks
way.
for having us.
Here on
Thank you.
1010 WOLB. Okay, coming up for tomorrow, we're going to be talking about